Likutei Halochos Torah. We're holding by Halacha Aleph. Well, there are really no letters in here. Really, we're holding by the last paragraph of page 428. Okay? Yes. But before we get into Zever, let's just a little background so we understand what it is that we're plunging into. We learned in Torah Vav that the Chayes comes from Kodesh Baruch Hu. He's Chai Chaim. He's like a torrent that you have to bring tools and buckets and containers, to call him, fill up the Chayes from him. Because it's very difficult, you have to constrict a tsunami. Kodesh Baruch Hu is a tsunami of life. Right. There's so much of it that it'll cancel everything out. It's too much light, it blinds. So it has to have kalim. The kalim is the Torah. The words, the psukim, the parshas, the sfarim. Each one is a keli. It's like you have towns and neighborhoods and houses and apartments, and same thing as the Torah. And each one is a midah. It's a quantity. It's a known quantity that it's like we said last night. It's a cup that holds this much. Like this, you can hold it up, you can drink it, you put it down, you have to drink the whole thing in one thing, this enables the flexible use of the liquid inside. Otherwise, the liquid will be totally impossible to handle. It's just be all over the place. So this is the tzimtzum. And it says, midas yomai mahi. And the midah that contains my days, my life, is the Torah. The Torah is that the bucket from which you draw the water out of the cosmos. It's not only this, but with the Torah, you're calling the life. They said every single word of the Torah is the name of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So by learning Torah, by saying the words, you are calling a Kodesh Baruch Hu. And we said it's the name of somebody, of something. His essence is tied to it. When you're calling a person who's walking the street, you say, "Hey, Ari!" Immediately you turn your head. Why? Because your neshama is tied to it. It encapsulates your mahos, your essence. So when you're learning Torah, being that every single word of the Torah is the name of Kodesh Baruch Hu, you're calling a Kodesh Baruch Hu to turn to you and to bestow life upon you with every single word that you learn. Okay? And we says this is Kriyas Torah because, when we said there's a problem, with the Malchus. The Malchus, that particular Torah deals with the authority, the Memshala that every person has in this world. And it says it's a double-edged sword. You are given the authority to be the boss, either in your own family, either your own this, or whatever it is, in order to get these people to do the Ratzon Hashem. If you do that to the best of your ability, whatever they go ahead and do afterwards, it's their business. Right. But if you don't tell them what needs to be done, you just let it go, you abscond your responsibility, then you end up, not you chas v'chalila, but the person ends up paying for the sins of those of his charges because he didn't call them out. He didn't tell them what they were supposed to do. By the way, it's a very, very important understanding in parenthood. It says you have to be mechanech your children to do what they need to do. And then the children grow up and they separate. And that time of separation this is when the children, do exactly the opposite of what you want. And they lie. And you say, well, my child is a liar. He's not a liar. these are not lies that are aimed to deceive. These are lies that are aimed to protect his truth. Because he needs to separate from you. He needs to be as somebody else. Because up to a certain point, they're just an extension of you. At a certain point, they need to separate to become their own beings. And at that point, the harder you try to hold on, the more you push them away.
Mm-hmm.
They need to get away. If you understand, they'll come back. You know, a girl always rebels against her mother, ends up exactly a carbon copy of her.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do about it. Because after something, they have to come back. So the main mistake is that even when the children, Chas v'Chalila, come out exactly the opposite of what you wanted, it's still okay. You don't know what the Kodesh Baruch Hu is doing. You did yours, that's fine, that's it. Just love them and accept them. Love and accept them doesn't necessarily mean love and accept everything they do. That's a separate business. You know, that's the plague of our generation. You got children going off the derech. Many times, parents also going off the derech with children. It's not an easy time.
You got to get them on the derech first.
Okay, well, no, what I'm saying it's
not necessarily there.
That's the plague of our time. That's the
parents.
plague of our time. No, about you, Charedim too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the plague of our time. There's nothing you can do about it.
No question about it.
You know, so the thing is, as long as you do what it is that you can do, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's so. But the Malchus, if you don't use it properly, it kills you. If you use it the way it's supposed to be used, it gives you life. This is what you need to do. You need to pump the Malchus, your authority, with life. The life is Torah. You do it through learning Torah. Okay, that's the reason why we learn Torah. We learn the Torah. It says because as a Kriyas of Torah, it says that we're calling life. With the Torah, we're calling the Chai Chaim. It says that's why the Melech in Am Yisrael, you know, that's supposed to write, has two Sefer Torah, supposed to write two Sefer Torah, one of them has to be with him. And the Torah says, V'kar v'kol yimei chayav, and he will read in it all the days of his life. So, the Pasha Pshat is, he's supposed to learn all his life, fine. But there's more than that. A Melech, he's the one, nobody is more of an authority figure than a Melech, right? So nobody's in great danger of absconding responsibility of Malchus. I mean, nobody's perfect. So he needs to keep on pumping life into his Malchus. How does he do it with Torah? With that Sefer Torah, he's calling the days of his life. You know, days, the measuring units of life. With the Torah, he fills out the days with life. From the Torah, through the Kohen. Because that's the reason why, you know, when you lay in the Torah, we're bringing life. In Yemei Ratzon, like Shabbos, Yom Tov, Yom Kippur, you know, these are auspicious days. There's extra kedusha coming down, so we need to bring buckets. We need to bring tools. We need to bring, you know. So that's what this Kriyas Torah doing those days. Yom Sheni, Chamishi, Shabbos, there's reading, because usually Asher Ba'Letzion is enough. On a regular day, Asher Ba'Letzion, this is where you bring the buckets. You say Kodesh, 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 you know, all the psukim you say Asher Ba'Letzion, this is after you finish davening, you asked, you caused, you know, the shefa to come from the Shemayim. Asher Ba'Letzion is when you're bringing the buckets, okay, fill this up with $100,000, $50,000, $1 million, you're coming up now. The special days, you may rotzing, extra favor, you need more tools, you need to bring a truck, you know, you bring a hand cart, so this is Kriyas Torah. You bring extra words, psukim, and tables of Torah. And that's why there's never Kriyas Torah less than 10 psukim. Because the 10 represents Kedusha, Kodesh. So there's always 10, except one Kriya. It's on Purim, when it says the Mechias Amalek. The annihilation of Amalek is only 9 psukim. Now this is a very, very deep thing. It explains. When it's not 10, it means it's not complete. It's susceptible for the tumor to swallow it. When it's 10, it's full kedusha. It's a kaddish. You can say, do whatever it is, do whatever you want. The Sitra Achra cannot touch it. When there's 9, it's incomplete. There's a window that hackers to come in. Sitra Achra comes and swallows it. That is a strategy. Kadosh Baruch Hu says the inyan of Mechias Amalek is you let Amalek swallow the Kedusha, so that the Kedusha goes into the belly of Amalek, causes the Sitra Achra to throw up everything he took from the Kedusha. And like when somebody, that throws up a lot, when it finishes, that somebody finishes throwing up everything that he ate, he starts throwing up his own essence because there's nothing left to throw up. Yeah. So he throws up his own self. That's when Sitra Achra has to give in, has to expectorate its very self. This is of Mechias Amalek. The whole thing is that Amalek, the tumor, is greedy. It wants to swallow it up. That's the way that you catch it. You use its own greed to catch it. They say, how do you catch a monkey? You put a cookie in a jar. And the monkey puts its hand in the jar and grabs the cookie. And then he tries to take the hand out, but you can't take the hand out with the cookie. The only way you can take the hand out is if you let go of the cookie, then you can take the hand out, because the fist doesn't come out of the thing. But the monkey doesn't want to give up the cookie. That's how you catch it. Mm-hmm. Its own greed catches it. You read 9 psukim. The greed of Amalek is the thing it's undoing. It says, Milchama Lashem ba'Amalek midor dor. There's a war that Hashem has with Amalek from every generation. So in the pasuk that says about that particular in Tehillim, Chazal said, Ki yad keska, for it is a hand. In other words, like you put your hand on the Bible, a yad al keska, that the hand is on the throne of Hashem. Kes is missing an aleph. It should be kiseh, right? The ka, yud ke, is missing the last half, is vav ke. You only have the yud ke. Ki yad al keska, milchama la'amalek midor dor. That is, Hashem wages war on Amalek for every generation. Chazal said, "En akisa shalom, ve'en Hashem shalom." Hashem's throne is incomplete, and Hashem's name is incomplete until Amalek is going to be eradicated. But it's not just like, how bad Amalek is. The throne is not complete, the name is not complete. No. That's also the strategy with which you annihilate Amalek. When the throne is incomplete and the name is incomplete, Amalek says, yummy.
Tempted.
The antivirus is off. Yeah. Let's swallow it up.
Right.
And this is how
defense is turned off. Right.
Its defenses are turned off. Once you can do that, once it turns off, it swallows it. Once it swallows it, if you can close just the window so that the grinding will not get into the recordings. Here in the window too. So that's why in Amalek you read Dafka, the window. You read 9 psukim. You let Amalek get over the Kedusha, swallow it up, then you're on the inside. This is the secret of Esther going into Achashverosh's palace to take out the Kedusha that the Tumah took. He says, this is where we hold. This is what we saw in the years of Mordechai. Because, superficially it looks strange. Vashti was so bad, was such a Rasha. Haman is a huge Rasha, Vashti is a huge Milshanta, and who is the one that got her killed? Haman. So we said, whoa, they should have been the best buddies, the axis, Hitler and Mussolini, what's a more natural alliance than both of them? And Haman is the one, who indicts Vashti. He should have been a big advocate for her. Because she's his equal in wickedness and evil. The Sitra Achra was planning ahead. What? So that Esther will be taken into the house of the king. So they will capture the Malchus of Kedusha by them. The Sitra Achra was willing to put a smaller fish on the hook to catch a marlin, to catch a bigger fish.
Right.
The Sitra Achra was willing to sacrifice Vashti, it was a big Milshanta, in order to catch a bigger fish, to catch Esther under Hashverosh, the Malchus Harisha. ובאמת בסוף זה די היה אצלם הפלטה. But really at the end that ended up being their defeat. וכל מה שיסגם כדי להביא המלכוס יסר בהסתרה אצלם, they tried harder and harder to bring the Malchus into a bigger store by them. And this is the Bechin of Esther being taken to the palace. That is the thing that brought about their big defeat at the end. They thought they got the upper hand because Esther to Achashverosh's palace. It ended up the Malchus de Kedusha had a tremendous aliyah. She took out with her all the sparks of Kedusha that they swallowed. They made a new Torah for this. I know the Megillah. The Megillah becomes a sefer in the Tanakh. It never existed before. It's a huge thing. But Chazal says, the Chazal is medama the Megillah to the Torah with all its dinam. The writing the Megillah, the Halochos of how to write the Megillah, kosher Megillah, are equal to the Halochos of writing Sefer Torah. And Beksivo, and the lining, and reading it. Because after, when everything was mishapich, when everything turned over, and they took Haman's, what he swallowed, they took him out of his mouth. Because Chayil Bola V'Yakienu, he swallowed the whole army, and he had to expectorate it. Moshe Kosov, Vatosam Esther es Mordechai Beis Haman. Esther appointed Mordechai on the house of Haman. As Nasa Mikol the Torah. All this becomes Torah. Hainu Megillah that came into being from this particular mace. Okay, Bepurim Korim Mas Pashas HaMalek, even though it only has 9 psukim. Adrabah, that was his defeat. This Chisaron, this is 9 psukim. There's only 9 psukim. What do? He says, we completed in Kriyas Megillah that you read afterwards. Because because you're learning 9 psukim, it's not enough. Sitra Achra swallows it. Yeah, but it ends up being Torah. Because of Megillah. So you lay only 9 psukim. He says, you know what 9 psukim?
Right.
9 psukim, then Sikra consolidate it? Yeah, but at the end, that's the trick. That's the way you annihilate it. It becomes a Megillah. That's why after Nikos Torah, you have to worry about a 10th pasuk. There's a whole Megillah that comes afterwards. Balken lo nitza b'shum pam shenikra tishat psukim except for Purim that you read Parshas Amalek. Ki az hayam Apollos, and this was his defeat. Apollos is a daika lebchina zo. That is the thing that brought him his defeat. Ki az be'emet nishna b'chisaron betosefes meruba me'oid. Yeah, it's like in one pasuk, but that pasuk was filled up with, with abundance. Ki al dezeh nasa Megillah shlema, a whole Megillah was. The ganze Megillah, was made from this. The Prince of Megillah that we're reading afterwards, it's also Kriyas Torah. All the dinim of writing and learning, of reading, everything is equal to the Torah. Because there is that we do not find any Kriya B'tzibur of 9 psukim except Kriyas Torah and Kriyas Megillah, which is Mamash Kriyas Torah. There's Chazal, Kimu ma shekiblu kvar. They actually kept what they've already received. It says, with the Megillah, Kiblu Yehudim, what did the Kiblu? It says, how Sinai received the Torah, or they had to, because Baruch Hu forced them. But in Purim time, they received it, they accepted upon themselves out of choice. It says, Kimu ma shekiblu kvar. Shekiblu kvar. Ki az nishlam kabbalas haTorah, ki al adam nishlam haTorah shetor chasero. But Hashem will be continuing this the next time that we learn the Halochos.